hello, and welcome to the Video Game Book Club!
Dun dun dun
Dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun,
dun
dun. Don't
dun.
get copyright. So this month, yes, we read Star Wars The Old Republic, Revan by Drew Karpyshyn.
It's part of the Legends series.
Okay, apparently this is the third book in the series. If you look it up, okay.
On Goodreads it says one though. I don't.
Right.
I'm
Goodreads
confused.
it says one. Audible it says three. I talked to the person I know who read all of them, and he was like, "You don't need the other ones to understand this one."
It's
He's like, "I
all
thought
like
this was one."
Revan prequel stuff. Is that what it is?
I saw Revan on it, and I got excited because I was like, "I just finished KOTOR," so you don't have to read the other ones to read this one.
But are the other two like Malik and Revan? Like they talk about in
No,
this
I don't
book, or are
think
they
so.
just, like,
Actually, I don't actually know, but from what I was told, no.
Alright.
Okay, what's the back of the book
Goodreads
say?
lied to us. So there's something out there, a juggernaut of evil bearing down to crush the Republic. Unless one lone Jedi, shunned and reviled, can stop it. That could be either character in here.
What?
There's two characters that could apply to, but the actual backstory says hero, traitor, conqueror, villain, savior. The man called Revan has been all of these. He left Coruscant, a Jedi, on a mission to defeat the Mandalorians. He returned a Sith disciple bent on destroying the Republic. The Jedi Council gave Revan his life back, but the price of redemption was the loss of his memories. All that's left are nightmares and deep abiding fears. What happened beyond the Outer Rim that Revan can't quite remember or entirely forget? One thing he's certain of, something dark is plotting to destroy the very essence of the Republic. With no idea how to identify the threat, let alone stop it, Revan may be doomed to fail, for he's never faced a more powerful and diabolic enemy. But only death can stop him from trying.
Okay, so we're about to spoil KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2, and if you have not played them, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you do before listening to us talk about this book. They are wonderful RPGs, and if you like Mass Effect, you will like these. The first one made me care about Star Wars lore. The second one made me take all those cares and throw them out the window, and this book made it worse.
So I've never played KOTOR.
KOTOR. It's Knights of the Old Republic, and it's shortened to KOTOR.
But actually, I think I've played a little bit of the first one, but
probably
like
have
a long time ago.
You know.
But yeah, as someone who has not played and not like I mean, I watched all the movies. I've seen most of the series, and I've played some of the games, but this book made me realize I know nothing about Star Wars. I had to look a bunch of stuff up as I was reading, so good luck.
No one really knows anything about Star Wars.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Like, there's different eras.
Right, yeah. You either know a lot about the original movies, you know a lot about it's called the Legends lore, which is not canon anymore, by the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When Disney bought it, this went out the window.
Well, this is a Random House book, and the cover design and illustrations are from LucasArts, and of course, Disney has its stamp on the back of the book as well.
Sadly, this was canon for the games, but I'm just going to pretend like it isn't, because I think for my sanity's sake, I'm just going to say that this isn't the end of the KOTOR games, because this book takes place after KOTOR 1, and then there's a time skip where it takes place after KOTOR 2.
That's one of the pet peeves I had with this book. I'm just going to state it now. There's a time jump, and a character is now
There's technically 2 time jumps.
That's true. A character they're like, this character is 3 years old. But they neglect the fact that there is time in pregnancy. So they're like, oh, it's only been 3 years. I'm like, that's not how babies work. And there was one point in the book where they were like, it's been 4 years. And then like every other time after that, it's like, it's been 3 years. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Math.
It's okay. So.
But we should also, Drew Karpyshyn we've seen before.
The first Mass Effect book that we read for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all right. watching this one.
I have to say, I don't know if it's because it's Disney or Star Wars, but thank you for not having any sexual assaults in this book.
Yeah, very great.
Hurrah.
At least I hope no Star Wars books has that. That's very un-Star Wars.
Yeah, well, that's what I appreciate about the series. Unless it's in there, then...
So this is your final warning. I'm about to spoil it, and it's gonna ruin your life if you haven't played it. It's a big spoiler. I got spoiled, and I don't want you to get spoiled.
I'm ready to be spoiled because I...
Back it up. I guarantee you'll forget what I'm saying by the end of this, so I'm not worried about you.
Sometimes it's good to be
so
forgetful.
Revan. In the game, the first one, you get to choose if Revan is male or female.
Revan, to me, sounds more of like a lady name.
So when they all of a sudden were like, the canon is Revan is male and Revan is married to Bastila, because if you play as female Revan, then you get to pick somebody else or nobody. You get a different companion.
We're not doing like the
sadly no. You
full of thing like
you can't be
Mass Effect. Come on.
I know it's a real bummer, but honestly, the Bastila love story isn't very good. So because I did it. So I hate.
Just out of curiosity,
what?
Who if you're Lady Revan, who do you get to romance?
There's this character named Karth.
Oh, yeah, you told me about this.
I told you about Karth. Karth is great, but I haven't done his romance yet, so I don't know how that one goes.
It's gonna be one of those things like Mass Effect is like actual...
Same goes for the Exile, though, in KOTOR 2. You get to pick if that Exile, Mita, in the book, is a male or a female. So,
really?
Yes. You get to pick, and
Mitra.
And I don't think it's fair to make a canon on games where you get to make that kind of decision. Because you're saying that my playthrough isn't canon. And I think if you're writing books about stuff like this, you should pull a Mass Effect where you don't state gender of main character that the player is playing as, because it really alienates us as a player if you're just like, everything you did in the game was wrong, this is the canon ending, you know?
I mean, Commander Shepard.
Yeah.
Is even though you get to choose to be a lady or a dude, when you're interacting with other characters in the game, they don't refer to you as...
Yeah, well, that's fine. I'm just mad that, you know, let's say I played female Revan, and then I read this book because I love Revan as a character that I just played as, and then all of a sudden they're saying I'm a white dude with a beard who married Bastila, and I'm like, that's not my Revan. Hashtag not my Revan.
The cover of the book is supposed to be Revan it's like suited up, but I guess at that point you can't tell if it's a dude or a lady.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
He does, I'm going to say body language wise, it looks kind of masculine, but
the costume works both ways.
Supposed to be a little thinner.
That's his Sith outfit.
Wow.
Her Sith outfit. Their Sith outfit. If you played as a dude Exile and then you read this book, that's sad.
Hashtag not my Mitra.
Hashtag not my Mitra. You know? And I hate that. I hate it with a fiery, burning passion. Because
it just changes your experience where
game.
you definitely see things from one perspective. Not that, like, so Mitra, just from like language perspective, most A last names tend to be female, but I don't think it matters.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a name in the second game.
They're just the Exile?
They're just the Exile.
Oh.
So you could be male Exile and you are valid also. You know, it's frustrating.
I do have to say, in the book at least, I thought Mitra was like the only redeeming character. Except for the robot. I dig the robot. It's like in most Star Wars things, like my favorite character
is the thing that doesn't talk. Yeah, so that's my Revan complaint. I've been holding that in forever, ever since I found out that the way I played the game is not considered canon, and it's extremely frustrating. And honestly, screw canon, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this book.
Well, I think you would say, actually, if you're going to read this book, to listen to it, because I read the book, Savvy listened to it.
Yes.
And I'm going to say we probably had vastly different experiences, because it was a struggle.
Like KOTOR, do yourself a favor and don't read this book. But if you're like, F you, Savvy, I want to read this book anyway.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, don't tell me what to do. Let me tell you what to do. Listen to the audiobook, because the audiobook kind of slaps. It was narrated by Mark Thompson. He does great voices. There's music and sound effects in it. and like beep boops from droids, and it was he gives characters weird accents though. He gave Canderous a Cockney accent, which he does not have in the games.
Oh.
That was
He's
weird.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, all the Mandalorians had different accents. He gave one Mandalorian his best Arnold Schwarzenegger impression.
But aren't they from the same tribe? Though?
Yes,
Wouldn't they
it
have
was
the same
super
accent?
weird, but it's Star Wars.
Okay. Well, if you're like, I don't know who that character is, we'll explain it when we do our deep dive.
Yeah, he gives them weird accents basically, and then he says weird stuff like Ebon Hawk instead of Ebon Hawk. But other than that, it was good.
I don't know.
I got an extra star from me because the audiobook was really entertaining.
I gave it 2 stars as well because it was just okay. I think it was missing some detail, and as someone who has just discovered that they know nothing about Star Wars after I feel like I've consumed quite a bit of Star Wars stuff.
Not enough.
Apparently not enough.
Never
enough. Because I don't know anything. I was missing some of the detail.
It's okay. This stuff isn't canon anymore.
And so. I don't know. Apparently, I don't need to know this. And again, background, I had to look some things up. Oh, there's a lot of things that, this is what I wrote in the review. There's a lot of things that happen in the book that I felt like were not necessary. Like, this book was probably a little longer than it could have been. I could have just taken the second half of the book. I didn't have to go.
That's true. The first half was really unnecessary.
It was a struggle.
Yeah, in the first half of the book, you switch between 2 POVs, and then eventually it'll go.
No, you still all the way to the end. True. Even in mid chapter, like you split towards the end. So you do. It's told through 2 characters' perspective, which is really popular in storytelling now. It's actually rare to find a book that's told from one perspective. Yeah, within the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years.
Interesting.
2 perspectives, 2 or more perspectives is kind of where it goes.
Do they do the 2 perspectives and then it merges where they like meet up and then it's one?
Yeah.
Or do they? Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. So anytime you have, and a lot of times it's actually 3 different stories lines going on at once, and then they all 3 converge.
Well, that was like our Oblivion Elder Scrolls novel, which was like 3 different people, 4 different people,
something like that.
But they were all like interacting with each other, in some ways. So like I think it felt more connected.
This one, they are apart. And
they were apart for a long time.
And then they come together. So it's like you kind of knew what was happening, and then I did not think it was necessary. Sorry, Drew.
We're about to spoil the entire book.
Let's jump in.
So...
I have to say my first note on here is I love me a Dramatis Persona, which is a character list at the beginning of the book. It's what plays do. And so I appreciate that. Thank you, Drew, for a listing of the characters who we will talk about.
I did see that. That's when I first opened the book and was depressed by the gender and the fact that they were in there.
Oh, are they
yeah, it states their gender on it.
Oh, human, female, human, male. It does. It's in alphabetical order like most. We have T3M4 is the hero of the book. I'm just gonna say it. That was the only part that I was thought of. Yeah, so we have, just going down a list of the characters. It starts with Bastilla. Did I say that correctly?
Bastilla. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Canderous Ordo. He is the Mandalorian. So Bastilla is a Jedi Knight, and she is married to Revan. Canderous is a Mandalorian. We have Darth Nyrus. Haha. Sith female. I didn't know that Sith was a species until this book, so surprise.
They're red-skinned, tall people with little tendrils coming out of their face. Like squids.
Then, there's other people, but really, Mitra is also Jedi Knight. Nyrus's security chief is Murtagh. Revan is, I would consider him and Lord Scourge. Lord Scourge is a Sith Lord. Him and Revan are the principal characters of the story.
Yeah.
Then we have Setchel. That was another thing I was happy about towards the end. And then, of course, it starts a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Every time I hear that, I get automatically scared for the loud noise that's about to come. Yeah, I see that and I'm like, no. gonna get a jump scare. Okay, so the Sith Empire rebuilt itself on a planet called Dromund Kaas, unbeknownst to the Republic.
Because they thought all the Sith were dead.
Yeah.
Considering I didn't even know there was a thing like a species called Sith, I also was like, surprise!
Wow, just like the Republic.
The story. So we actually start with a prologue, which is Revan. Which I felt like this is deceiving because the book is called Revan and we start with Revan, and then in chapter 1 there's no more Revan. Like, yeah. So I was like, wait, what's happening? Because you have chapter 1 and 2 are Scourge's point of view, but the prologue, Revan has a dream, there's a storm coming, and then he's with his wife, and I'm like, wait, what a minute?
I don't know. I think I might have skipped the prologue. And the audiobook or something, because I just have chapter 1.
Yeah, it's the dream that he keeps talking about the like lightning and the planet.
Yeah,
which is Dromund Kaas.
Dromund Kaas.
And so he's like, it's a dream. It's the storm's coming, or it could be a memory, because when he gets taken by the Jedi Council, they like wipe his memory.
So okay, here's what happens in KOTOR. You are Revan, and Bastila kicks your butt, and then
they talk about this in the book though.
They kick your butt. She does, and then the Jedi Council is like, let's keep them, and see what they got and like why they turned evil all of a sudden, because you used to be a Jedi Knight.
So you were a Jedi, and you and your buddy
Malik
went into the outer space.
Yes.
And then you come back and you're like, screw the Jedi.
Yeah, then you came back Sith and they were confused. So they sent Bastila to kick your butt in. And then she does. And then you get your memory wiped by the Jedi.
Which is kind of rude.
And yeah.
And then do you not remember anything then at that point? Because do you not remember your childhood and all that stuff? You don't
remember anything. They
so
basically turn you into a Republic soldier, but you're hanging out with Bastila. She's like your babysitter.
Because you have to go watching you defeat your friend then at this point.
Yes. Because you go defeat your friend.
Yeah, Malik. So he has to go kill Malik. That's why he knows.
That's the entire plot of the first game is you having to go beat Malik.
Because you have the gang members of the Mandalorian. There's a killer robot, which sounded awesome.
HK. I'm surprised he wasn't in the book more, to be honest.
A missed opportunity, I'm going to say, too.
Yeah, actually it was.
Amazing. Because they were let's get the team back together. And they're like, no, we can't take this person. No, we can't take this person. So they ended up with none of the team back together.
I think we're jumping ahead too much.
But, that's what my question is. So they erase your mind. Do you have to learn how to walk and read and talk again, or how does that work? Or am I thinking too deep into this?
Well, it's Star Wars, so it's dumb. So you don't have to learn how to do all that. You have basic functions. They turn you into a Republic soldier. You forget how to use the Force, and then through the first half of the game, you're just relearning how to get your Force powers back. They're trying to do it to reform you.
But so, the thing is, Revan's memories are, popping back, but he, of course, it's not clear, anything. It's like a crystal ball tarot reading, so he's like, what could this mean? And then, of course, he's going to go investigate. But that's the prologue. He's slowly gaining his memory back, but something is still missing. And they keep talking about, don't use any emotions, but I'm like, isn't calm an emotion?
Yes. Jedi are weird, dude. Don't listen to the Jedi. Yeah.
I had lots of questions about things, and I'm just an inquisitive person.
Don't listen to the Sith either. Be a gray Jedi. They're the weird in-betweeners.
Well, which would be Revan, right? Because he uses both sides of the Force.
Yes.
So then we jump into this other character who, at first, I was like, Lord Scourge. Cool name, by the way.
There's multiple times in this book where somebody's like, why did the Sith name yourselves that? Just to sound cool?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Lord Scourge came back a Sith master.
He went to school. And then he got, got
his degree in Sith mastery.
But then they made him go on, an internship, far, far away. And so he's all mad about it. But he's brought to Dromund Kaas. Because Darth...
He thought that Darth Nihilus invited him, but actually the Emperor of the Sith sent for him.
Because someone's trying to kill him.
Because someone's trying to kill Darth Nyrus, and Darth Nyrus is pretty offended by this because she's like, "You don't think I could take care of myself?"
Obviously not.
Scourge gets attacked on his way over there, basically.
Yes, there's mercenaries. You see them, and then he like gets to the gate. This Setchel is her servant, and he's like this like
He's this
skeezy,
weasel dude.
Yeah, like, makes me feel. He made me feel like uncomfortable
voice,
the whole
sleaze.
story. Like I put like Scourge is paranoid from his Sith training, but turns out that he has right to be paranoid. As he's attacked by these mercenaries, but it ends up being a test.
Yeah, so he's attacked by the mercenaries, and then before he can interrogate the mercenaries, they get shot by Nyrus's head of security, who I forgot his name.
His
name.
Starts with an M.
Yeah.
I didn't find him to be too important.
No, he's not really important.
Name is Murtog.
Murtog!
The Magnificent. No, that's Bartok.
So yeah, that's pretty much chapter 1.
2 is he gets attacked by the mercenaries.
He finally meets Nyrus.
And she looks old because she uses
Nyrus
the
is
dark
old
side.
because that's the cost of the dark side. Womp womp. That's what I wrote.
Oh, and I put, the poor, is it Twi'lek? Twi'lek. Poor Twi'lek. She gotta wear a shock collar?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's...
So if you play the MMO and you pick, like, I think it's Sith Warrior or Sith Counselor as your class, you get a Twi'lek slave.
Can you, like, let them go?
No, but I actually got kicked out of the Sith Order because I was too nice to my slave.
Rude. So this whole thing we find out is he's not really there to help her. He is, but not there to help her. And she's got like weird statues of herself when she was younger all around the house.
That's
like
just
a
Sith thing, you know. Sith are really into themselves.
She reads a lot of books, is what I got from that.
What?
It's in her office. She's got all of these books, so she knows everything about the dark side.
Oh,
so now he has to get Setchel into Hallion.
Yeah, because the last time she got attacked was by a service droid, and Setchel managed to get some data off of it, and it said that it was manufactured on Hellion, so that's where they gotta go next.
Gotta return to sender.
Now it's Revan time!
And we meet our Mandalorian, where else but at a bar.
At a bar. And we meet Canderous Ordo, a Mandalorian friend of Revan from the games. He's the companion you can have.
He goes to see him because he needs information on Mandalore the Ultimate. So if you are the head of the Mandalorians, your name is automatically Mandalore.
Yeah, if you have the mask.
And you have to wear the mask. But then you get to choose like your surname or your title.
Mandalore the coolest.
And this is where my Star Wars knowledge again failed me because he is sitting at the bar without his mask on. And
don't listen to the Mandalorian TV show.
I know nothing about anything.
Listen, that is a weird cult that is not hashtag not all Mandalorians.
Well, apparently so, because then we meet other Mandalorians later. So I'm like, okay, I know nothing.
Revan asks Canderous if he can get his Mandalorian friends to...
He needs some info.
Remember a planet that has never-ending thunderstorms that he's been dreaming about.
Yes.
And Canderous is like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Now we're back to Scourge.
Alien, they're at a warehouse, and Setchel's like, you just need to get me in. Like, there's no way there'll be, like, security bots or whatever
it's just
called.
A droid manufacturing place.
Assault bot.
It'll be like MBD.
Yeah. But it ends up being...
Yeah, the password didn't work, which causes the place to go on high alert.
Setchel is just sketch the whole time.
Yeah. And Scourge had to fight his way through the factory.
He doesn't trust him at all, but he also doesn't prepare. And then we find out that Scourge is, like, he's supposed to be this, like, badass assassin, but he, like, fights with anger. I mean, he's part of the Sith, but he doesn't think.
No,
before he
acts? He thinks a lot because we read his thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm getting mixed messages from
Scourge. Is a terrible character. I would say interesting.
Very moody,
but I don't like him. So
I don't think you're supposed to though.
I think in the beginning they set you up as trying to like him, and then it all falls apart. But anyway, he tried to get out of the factory. He had to fight his way out because Setchel messed up. So he was like, Setchel's definitely the traitor. He has to be.
And then he thinks he's like, well, maybe Satchel's just trying to kill me, which he thinks that everyone's trying to kill him.
Fair enough, you're Sith.
Yeah.
Sith on Sith violence.
He's like, I'm going to have to talk with him later.
So yeah, he flies way through the factory, he ended up breaking his ribs, and then the place blew up.
Yeah, he gets damaged a lot.
So
he gets injured a lot, this guy. Like, the mercenary, like, shoots him in the shoulder. He breaks his ribs in the warehouse explosion. A couple other fights. He's like...
They're using him looking bad to, I think, make Revan look better.
Okay.
Is what I'm thinking. He's the Worf of this situation, where they say he's a big, strong dude, but he constantly gets beat up.
I'll take it.
Okay, chapter 5 is Revan time. Revan is still in the Jedi Order. The good ending is canon, but they feel like nobody can trust them, which is not surprising considering the events of what took place. They also feel like they're too cool for Jedi school because they're just like so good with the Force. They're just amazing. And Revan also is married to Basilisk, so that's why everyone doesn't like them.
Well, because they were both dark, but then they like their love is what brought them back.
Revan went to the temple because they want to find out about the Exile from KOTOR 2.
But he like casually walks
AKA
in. He's like, I'm
Mitra.
not bringing my membership card, but yeah, he's looking for his friends. Mitra was like his right hand.
Yeah, Mitra was like the general that he used a lot for Malachor 5, and so I have a little note about Malachor 5 in a nutshell.
Okay.
Malachor 5 is a really big deal in the second game, and I guess also the first, because Malachor 5 is the final battle of the Mandalorian Wars. It's where Revan killed Mandalore on the Mandalorian ship, and Mitra, who's Revan's general, ordered the activation of this mass shadow generator to prevent the Mandalorians from overwhelming them and attacking Revan, who's over there killing Mandalore. And this caused Malachor's gravity to crush everything in its atmosphere, Mandalorian, Republic, and Jedi, and just destroy this planet and everything.
Like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Destructions of planets.
So that's Malachor 5. That's what happened. That's the baggage of the two characters.
Revan finds out that Mitra is alive, but she, in order to survive that, she has to cut herself off from the Force. Which, the Star Wars game that we played, the character did that.
What? Who did that?
The lady that was on the planet. I can't remember anyone's name.
You talking about Fallen Order?
Yeah.
Oh.
The lady that's like helping him out on the... But I thought
it's a
like...
rare thing to do. Not a lot of people could do it.
Can you like not... I thought you can't come back from that. Do you come back from that?
Sort of. In KOTOR 2. That's a spoiler I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, because I know this is sci-fi, but going fantasy land, like, there are people
Star Wars is just sci-fantasy 100%.
Well, I mean, when you, like, talk about, like, binding witches' powers and stuff like that, you can, like, or taking people away from the source in, like, Wheel of Time and stuff like that, like, you don't get that stuff back, typically. So that's why when I heard, like, you're cut off from the Force, like,
They cut themselves off from the Force, the Exile. And
because it was just so overwhelming, all the stuff that was happening, that it would have destroyed her.
Yes.
So she cuts herself off from the source. So Revan gets this from
Atris, who sucks, by the way.
Hardcore.
Oh my god, she's in the second game and she's rough.
I don't
to deal
know
with.
her from the game, but she sucked in the book as well.
I put Atris, who sucks.
She's got some too, that one. And so she was set, not Atris, but Mitra was set into exile by the Jedi Council.
Because the Jedi Council was really... Mitra was the only one who came back from that, from Malachor 5, really. Mitra and Revan and Bowder. And then went for judgment, and the council was shocked and was like, oh my god, there's no Force here. That's spooky. Get out of here. And they got exiled.
Well, that I also think that she would get exiled because she's not connected to the Force anymore, yeah.
Yeah, and that she broke the law, so... I like that Revan tried to cry about it, but they could not, so then they left. That was like the end of that chapter. Revan
that chapter
was like,
weird.
I tried, I was sad, but like,
I think for me it was more the fact that even though Revan is Jedi and kind of part of the council. Not really. It was more the fact that he doesn't care about the Jedi Council.
The fact that Revan is still a part of the Jedi Council and Mitra isn't, is kind of messed up.
Because they're using him.
Yeah, but they can use Mitra too.
But he doesn't have the Force anymore, so she's not a valuable asset for them. She gets the Force back.
I know, but she gets it back from leeching it off of other people.
Yeah, so she's a rogue.
It was a really weird... KOTOR 2 was a weird experience. Everyone who says it's the better one is lying. It has a lot of cool ideas that are not very well executed.
I can neither confirm or deny that because I
want to talk to somebody about this.
Talk to someone about your feelings.
I gotta let it out.
Let it go.
Anyway, Scourge time. Boo. Chapter 6.
Yeah, Scourge is paranoid. This whole time he's like, oh, maybe they're setting me up. Oh, maybe it's a test. Oh, maybe. I'm like, yes, you should just... You're hanging around some awful people. Guess what? You're not part of their club. They're probably out to get you, Scourge.
I figure that's just the Sith experience.
Yeah. I definitely also felt that Satchel was probably setting him up. And they're like... Oh, guess what? We took that side. I really feel like this is a side mission because now he has another side mission to do because he has to go kill more people on another planet.
Yeah. He was just training when Nyrus called him in and is like, hey, you need to be better at being a Sith. And also, I need you to investigate the Separatists. So, can you go to their base? Thanks.
Yeah. And, like, just murder all of them. And then the, Nyrus, like, tells him why people are after her, but I definitely didn't believe her at all. And I was right.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's the note I have here is her reason why people are trying to kill her is kind of sketch. Because you should never trust anyone from the dark side.
No.
Liars.
Living the Sith life sounds rough.
Yeah. Can't trust anyone, and everyone's trying to kill you, and there is out. But honestly, the Jedi Council like uses people too.
That's true. I mean, that's the whole point
of
KOTOR 2 is like the Jedi aren't great.
Back to Revan. The Mandalorians are looking for the helmet that he stole. So Revan's like, oh, I should probably be there since I'm the one that took it and put it somewhere. I can't tell you where I put it, but it's probably over there.
Maybe I'll have a flashback or something.
And so they're like, yeah, let's, we're getting the band back together, but then they're like, well, we can't, these people are Jedi, we can't bring them in. And
yeah, they just
they have a real life, so we can't bring them. And that robot...
They listed all the companions except for Karth, so rude.
I like the excuse for not bringing the killer robot.
Yeah. So fan favorite character HK-47. They bring up like twice.
Is it just like
I was like
he's supposed to be like AK-47? Is that like
yeah?
Okay.
He's an assassin droid.
Crazy assassin.
Yeah. He's goofy. He has like a funny voice and stuff. They brought him up twice, and then they never. The fact that they brought him up, I was like, oh, he's gonna like show up at the end or something like that, and he never did, and it was such a bummer. But they're bringing T3.
They don't trust him. They're not gonna bring him.
Yeah,
but yeah, so they're bringing. He's basically they're like, well,
that's how I felt while playing the game. I was like, I can't bring HK to these events because he will just say dumb stuff. You know that one companion when you play games with companions who's just like a little bit outspoken, so when you're talking to somebody, they say something and you're like, shut up, I'm trying to negotiate.
Are you talking about Herc?
No, Herc's funny. I'm talking about the angry ones.
So they're like, well, that just means you and me, and then Revan's like, and my wife too.
And my wife!
Of course she's coming. And, okay, reading this chapter, I thought that she was still coming, so you find out that she's pregnant. And then she's like, no, I'm still coming. And then I'm like, they're at the planet. And I'm like, where is this lady? And then apparently they left her at home.
And this scene's super weird. So Revan comes home and is like, hey, we're going to go on this expedition.
I have news. She's like, so do I.
And she's like, oh, well, I'm pregnant. And then Revan has like the worst reaction ever. Like, no reaction whatsoever.
It's like, I should have known. I'm not using my force powers well enough.
And then they bone.
Oh, I didn't get that at all. So
you didn't?
I was just reading
she was like, there's more things we can do than talk.
Oh.
And then they bone.
That whole thing was confusing to me because I thought that she was coming on the trip.
I thought she was coming on the trip too, so I was like,
cool. She's not on the plane.
What was funny was Candace didn't even ask. He just kind of raised an eyebrow and then didn't care enough to ask about it and just went back on the ship because he thought that she was coming too.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't miss anything because I was like, "Where is she?" this whole time. And then we go. Of course, there was this like volley back and forth of like Revan, Scourge, Revan, Scourge, Revan, Scourge. I'm like, ugh. Sometimes it's like two episodes. Sometimes it's like 2 chapters.
The chapter where it didn't volley back to Scourge, what really threw me off.
Yeah,
where it was still Revan, and I was like, oh no, what is happening?
So then I just have, dude, Scourge, you're being set up, man. Like, why would they want Scourge to assassinate another Sith Lord after so they're sending him to assassinate someone because he found the evidence. Setchel found the evidence, and it was a little too convenient.
Scourge went to the Separatist base with Setchel and Murtaugh,
the head of her.
Yeah, Scourge obliterated all the Separatists, and then they found a holocom of Darth Zedrix.
But like sketchy, like he's like, dangerous. Wait, don't go in until I tell you to, and then all of a sudden, Setchel and Murtaugh are like collecting the evidence, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, they would have erased it if you didn't let us in early
That's
enough.
true, yeah. They were. He's like, "Why didn't you follow my orders?" Welcome. And they're like, "Well, we normally do, but your plan was bad, so we just didn't follow it."
It was too late because your plan had already started, so I couldn't have told you.
Yeah, it's sketch.
That's my Setchel voice because he's.
It sounds accurate to how Mark did it. So
he's kind of a weasel. He reminds me of like Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings.
So they come back with that information, and then Nyrus tells Scourge to go kill Zedrix.
Because he's working with the Separatists to assassinate her. I'm like, And he's human too, by the way. So he's gonna be weaker than the Sith.
Yeah, because us humans suck. Yeah. So now we ping pong back to Revan and Canderous.
They're on Rekindle, where they're like all these different clans of Mandalorians are looking for this mask. And they're like, well, everyone staked a claim somewhere, so they're like, are not flying very well, and they hit things like most Star Wars movies where you're like in the planet and you're like, oh no, I broke my ship.
Dodging. They're not very good pilots in the Star Wars universe.
I thought, isn't even the robot the one that's flying the plane too? Yeah. At some point,
T3 does fly the plane. They're trying to find Canderous' clan on the planet. And they crash land on a snowbank near Canderous' clan.
Ordo, not Ordu.
Yeah.
Okay. They find the clan, and then their leader is Vila.
Canderous' wife.
Dun dun dun. Who he's like abandoned.
Super weird, by the way. That's a weird twist, Drew.
Yeah.
What is up with that? Okay.
Especially later, we have a conversation where she's like, "You should be the leader of the clan, now I not me."
Why I can't romance Canderous in the first KOTOR, but
already got a special.
Because I guess so. Like, I feel like this was just shoehorned in there so that I can't get some Mandalorian booty. Rude. I like how they rearranged the letters in Revan to spell.
The anagram.
Yeah.
It happens more than once.
Evner. I don't
know. I don't even think I wrote it down. I was like,
whatever. I thought it was funny because Revan was like, dude, you just rearranged the letters of my name. They're going to find out. And he's like, no, they're never going to find out.
Only 5 letters in his name. Like,
no way. Just don't use your force powers and we'll be fine.
Yeah, so he's pretending not to be a Jedi. Mm-hmm. Which, okay, so this is the other thing that I wrote down. Is that why they have to wear such big robes? Because they're all like, let me hide my lightsaber in my belt. Lightsabers aren't small.
No, they're pretty big.
And so, like, you need a large cloak in order to hide it. Like,
that's a lightsaber in your pocket. You just have your Siri.
Oh, it's my cloak.
It's my cloak.
I keep trying to hide the lightsabers in their, like, belts, and I'm like...
Deep pockets.
Yeah, you're gonna need bigger pockets.
Now we ping pong back to Scourge.
Who fights Zedrix. Not really.
Yeah.
He spends more time on the other people around him.
Yeah, that's true. Zedrix's henchman or whatever.
Yeah.
He takes Zedrix's head.
Yeah.
Ew. He tries to Zedrix before he dies. Tries to have Scourge join his side, but fails. Very Sith move.
Because he can feel
Join me.
Yeah. But he senses his fear, and so he's like, nope, that's not a team I want to join. Let me take your head.
Yep, and that's that whole chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're back to Revan.
Back to the ice planet.
And Revan has a flashback moment and they're like, we have to move the camp. It's not in the right spot to find the mask.
So there's this really tall ice wall that there's a cave, and like that's what I dreamt about. So dudes, we're gonna have to move.
We have to. I know you guys just met me, but listen.
That's why he doesn't give the order to do it. So the
Can't do
Mandalorian guy does like, let's not tell them you had a dream about this.
Yeah. So on their way over there, they get attacked by another Mandalorian clan, and Revan has to bring out their lightsaber for some reason in order to fight the other clan's basilisks. My question
Let's do some research.
Is it a motorbike or is it a creature? Because I don't remember.
It was like a robot, though, because it's like when it loses its person, it's this thing. It's like a giant flying droid. Basilisk war droid first appeared in Star Wars Legends comic Tales of the Jedi, the Sith War 1. It's a semi-sentient droid that Mandalorians used to successfully conquer many planets during the Crusades. So it looks like it's a four-legged kind of creature thing, but I thought they flew. Apparently I'm reading things incorrectly.
So yeah, in order to fight the basilisks, Revan had to bring out their lightsaber.
He was the distraction.
So, oh no, now they know Revan, or I'm sorry, Inver is a Jedi.
And so the only person that knows is really Vila, and she's like, no duh, like I can unscramble an anagram. Like it's only 5 letters, dude.
They also won that fight.
Yes.
So
and they're gonna go climb the ice wall.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Scourge.
That's really what this should be called. Is anyways back to Scourge.
Anyway, back to Scourge. He's interrogating Setchel.
So he like goes into his room, but the door is unlocked, and he's like because he's waiting for someone else, and of course he's got like a slave servant thing.
Of course.
Yeah. And then he has his lightsaber next to it. Where did the head go? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
like,
I think
what does he do with the head?
To Nyris as proof, and she probably threw it in the trash.
But he goes to see Setchel before he sees Nyris.
That's true. He's just keeping his room.
They don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it.
Because so he's talking to Setchel. Setchel's like, yeah, there's stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But then Nyris shows up.
Yeah, Nyris busts in saying that she'll answer all of his questions.
And then, for some reason alone, because Setchel's got to know everything. He's a little weasel.
Setchel's got to know everything. But he did, like, torture Setchel by taking off some of his little, like, Sith tendrils. Mm.
So we hear that the Emperor is crazy.
Whack.
And he wants to start a war with the Republic.
He's been trying at this for a long time.
So she's going to take him to the Emperor's home planet. She's like, what do you know about the Emperor? And he's like, no one knows anything about the Emperor. She's like, lies. I know everything about the Emperor. I'm going to take you to his home planet. He's like, that's not even a planet. She's like, watch me.
Yeah, so they're going to go to the Emperor's home planet of Nathema. Oh, and Nyris also says that she put the fake assassination attempts on herself to make sure the Emperor wouldn't catch that they were trying to overthrow.
Because they're all working together.
Yeah, her and a couple other of the Dark Council want to overthrow the Emperor.
Because he's crazy.
Very Sith. Mm. So yeah, they're going to the Thema. Just Scourge and Nyris, which is the Emperor's homeworld. Back to Revan!
Previously, Legends Revan. Revan, of course.
Previously on Legends Revan. Because it's called Revan.
It's called Revan in the books for the Legends series.
This book should be called Scourge.
Previously, no.
I think Scourge is actually the main character of this book.
I kind of feel like that too.
Yeah.
Like
they just put Revan so that dumb butts like me would buy it.
Mission accomplished.
Yes, I'm dumb. If you said Scourge, I wouldn't have bought this book. I'd be like, who's Scourge?
Oh, I'd be like, I don't know who that is. So Revan, of course, finds the mask because he's the one that put it there. And he is remembering the last time he was there, and Mandalore tells him that the Mandalorians were being used. That's like the theme of this book is everyone's being used. So Mandalore fought against the Republic because the Emperor told him to, and was like, I see in your future great success. Yeah.
The Emperor has been trying to figure out if the Republic is tough shit for a while. Like, they sent the Mandalorians to attack the Empire. Because,
it's like in Jurassic Park when the raptors test the fence to find the weak point.
They didn't hear anything back from the Mandalorians. So when Revan and Malik showed up to be like, what's the deal with the Mandalorians? They were like, new pawns. And then they sent Revan and Malik to go test the the Republic to see
if they can attack.
They can attack it, and then they didn't hear back from them, so they're just like,
we'll just wait for later.
I still don't know.
But honestly, that was the other part of this, because Scourge gets mad that no one's doing anything. But I'm like, if you live for thousands of years, like, time for you is different than someone who lives to be like 80.
The Emperor is very patient.
He's super old, and so he's like, yeah, I have all the time, so we'll just
wait and see, and maybe one of the people I send out will report back this time.
Someone's leaving me unread. Just wait for someone else. So that's what we find out. He's starting to remember things, and then of course they're like, "Hey, I got the mask," and so they're about to leave, and Velen shows up. Well, she's there. Her team fell down the mountain. So
okay.
They were a little late.
So the reason Revan went to go to I think Droman Koss is where they went. Was because Mandalore was like, I've been used by the Sith. And then
he's like, go, there's a Sith Lord. So the reason why we're on this planet is because where the mask is the tomb of a Sith Lord.
Yes.
And so there's holodiscs in there, and so he sees them, and he's like, oh, I already know what's on him, because I remember. I don't have to watch them again. But
sure you do, Revan.
No, like, apparently.
Sure you do.
Selective memory is like, oh, a holodisc. Oh, I remember what it says. And so that's why he hid the Mandalore mask there, because he's like, no one's gonna know about this, because Mandalore's the only one that told me about it. Mm-hmm. And the tomb's empty anyways, so no one's coming. But that is important later on when you find out what happened at the Emperor's homeworld. But so then Velen shows up, and she's like, you killed all the Mandalorians.
Yeah, you killed all the Mandalorians. I know who you are. You're Revan. You kill all the Mandalorians, and now you're holding the mask. Give it to me. I'm gonna kill you. And Canderous had to choose sides. So instead of choosing his clan and wife, he chooses Revan, because Revan's just so cool. Love Revan.
They're war buddies. It's a deep bond.
The amount of love everyone has for Revan doesn't make sense to me. They say, so the thing about Revan is, Revan's supposed to be charismatic, right? That's why people followed them into battle.
He didn't seem very charismatic.
He doesn't seem very charismatic in this book.
Just because half his memory is missing.
Drew's Revan, this guy is a jerk. Like, he's mean to people,
and he doesn't talk
he's
very
not
much.
Tries to be witty, but he's not very good at it. But the way that they wrote it, they're like, and everyone laughed and loved Revan. I'm obsessed with Revan. Like, oh my god. You can tell me that people think Revan's cute and charismatic, but I'm not seeing it, Chief.
So before Velen dies, she's like, husband, you should have been here. You left us, but you left me too. And you should be the leader of our clan. And so when Revan is like, I have to go to this planet, I'm following my steps back from... Why is he following his backward steps before?
Because
he's like, I have to go back to this planet because that's where I went before. But I'm like, that didn't end well for you,
Revan. Dude. Yeah, the reason Revan went there was to stop the Emperor from coming to the Republic and starting a war. So I just think Revan's trying to do that again.
He's trying to regain his memories. He's like, something is coming. I know it is, but I don't remember, and I need to remember. But
Revan feels like they're like the sole person who has to stop this,
because he's both light and dark, so he's supposed to be like super badass Jedi dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's gonna go back to this planet, which Scourge is at. So guess what's gonna happen?
Revan just kill the entire clan Ordo. That to me was like, what?
They didn't kill them all.
Yeah, they did.
No.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, they won't know, so they go back and they party.
No.
And he leaves him in charge of the thing. They don't kill them all. They kill just the people that Vela brings with her. Oh. Because they only brought a small group.
Okay.
To climb the ice mountain.
They kill all the ones that Vela was with. So they kill Canderous' wife and all the groupies, and then Revan gives the mask and is like, okay, you get to be Mandalore now.
So you are in charge of all the Mandalorians.
Which is, if you play KOTOR 2, you do get Canderous as a companion, but he's known as Mandalore now.
But how cool is this Mandalore mask? Because everyone wants it, and they keep using it for other people, and
it's the old Mandalorian style masks. They're not as cool.
So he's, of course, Revan's
Apparently,
like,
Revan's mask is supposed to be a Mandalorian mask too.
I have a destiny. I must go to this planet alone. Because last time I went with my BFF, and then he turned evil. Actually,
But
we
I
both
mean,
turned evil.
they're just gonna leave Canderous on this snow planet.
He's got his posse. He's got his people.
Okay.
And now he's in charge of all the Mandalorians.
Fair enough.
He's now
So Revan's gonna go off with T3 back to the place that turned him evil.
smart.
He's also going to the Thema.
So both of our main characters are now traveling to the same spot.
Can't wait for the POV to be one person.
My notes for chapter 15 were, so this whole book is really just the Emperor's backstory.
Yeah, the Emperor's backstory was so... I didn't want to write all of it down. Did you write any of it down?
I mean, I read it last night, so...
So I have just this. I only wrote down...
He's a Sith.
Scourge and Nyrus are flying to Nathema, and Nyrus is like, "Do you want to hear about the Emperor's backstory?"
For the Star Wars novice, this is not the Star Wars movie Chancellor Emperor dude. This is like before.
This is not Palpatine.
He's a Sith. He's been alive for thousands of years at this point, so this is like back a long time ago. This
takes place a long time ago, in comparison to the films.
And so he was on a Sith planet. He goes to school, or no, he's from a farming family.
Yeah, so he was born to simple farmers, but it turns out that his mom had an affair with a Sith.
With a Sith
Lord. And that's why... And so the Emperor was really cool with the dark side, even for a kid. And then the Emperor killed both of his parents because his dad got mad that his mom had an affair and tried to kill the mom. But
then he tortures his mother.
But then, he kills his dad and he tortures his mom for being unfamily-like or whatever. And then after he orphaned himself because he killed both his parents, he decided
he's like 8 at this time
to make the people of the village his bitch. So he just became emperor of that village.
If you're not like his friend, you basically get tortured. So if you don't do what he wants, because he's like an 8-year-old at this point, he basically will torture you to death, and then like sucks the life out of you.
Yeah, so that's his backstory.
And then he just like then because he's in such a small farming town, the emperor of the planet is like, we don't care. And then they're like, so many people are dead, dude. And there's like, well, maybe we should investigate. Long story short, he takes over the planet.
He does like rituals or something.
He does. So he learns from all the books and stuff, and he decides he's just gonna suck the life out of everything on the planet, but he needs other people to help him with that. And so they agree and they do this like crazy ritual, and everything on the planet dies. And this is again one of my weird beefs with this book is, so they land on this planet, right?
Yeah.
Do they have special masks to breathe the oxygen that's no longer on this planet?
No, Star Wars. Doesn't matter.
Because I'm like, there's so they talk about this planet, there is no insects, there's no rodents, there's no plant life, there's nothing.
No sound.
I'm like, that
and there's no force.
Would change the atmosphere of that planet, and it would be like you're on the moon now. So
it freaked Scourge out so much that he was like, we have to leave. I'm too freaked out. So they went back to the ship.
There is no force, because there's no life. Force is life, and there's no life on this planet. So everyone that is in tune with the force, like, they feel off, and they're like, this is weird, I don't like this. And then they're leaving, and of course, then they run into Revan.
They see Revan's ship, and
they have two options, and they choose violence.
And Iris shoots at Revan, causing Revan's ship to crash.
And
Chapter 16.
Then
Scourge went to go check out the Ebon Hawk, which just crashed.
And sees the dude and was like, I'm gonna take him.
Yeah, and Nyrus is like, oh yeah, I know that. That's Revan.
Yep.
The Emperor had Revan in the dungeon. They were supposed to be sentenced to death, but I guess they weren't.
Him and his friend.
Mm-hmm.
They were
so
used.
Scourge and Nyrus choose to interrogate Revan.
Because they want to know what's the Emperor's...
It's kind of hopeless since Revan has amnesia.
Yes. And then we time jump. Let's do time warp.
Yeah, time skip. 4 years.
I was like 4 years later, question mark. Again, we've talked about this before, so we don't need to go back into it. It would have been more than 3 years. And I do believe they say 4 years, and then they reference 3 years, so...
Yeah, it's confusing. It's
whatever.
4 years. They jump
It's 4
to
years.
Bastila and her son.
Yes.
And they talk about the plot of KOTOR 2 with Kreia as the threat and Darth Treya and
There's a
group
Jedi
of rogue
that turns
Jedi
dark and then goes against the Republic,
call
and we have another
themselves the
civil war.
Sith. We have a civil war, and then the Exile.
Mitra
It's a whole plot of 2.
gets the Force back and kicks some booty.
And Bastila did nothing about this, and Mitra had to step up and do everything about this.
Except I got a son.
Yeah, whatever, Bastila.
But she was willing to go with her husband when she was pregnant.
I know.
I don't know. You do you, girl. Like, and then so she comes back, and then she's got T3 because T3 found Mitra.
T3 is a companion you can have in 2 also.
And Basila's like, "What the heck, T3?"
So okay, T3 was super cagey in the second game, and I was super annoyed by it because he wouldn't tell me anything. So it turns out that Bastila programmed T3 to be cagey and not tell anyone anything until she gets the information first.
Well, that would make sense for you. Why?
Yeah, so it made sense to why it was cagey. So, but dick move, Bastila. Now we have to go see Bastila in order to get the information we need to find out where Revan went.
And at first she's like,
and
I don't want Mitra to be there for that. And then she's like, oh, never mind.
That means that T3 has been traveling in this ship alone for 4 years.
Yeah, T3 fixed the ship, but no, he doesn't.
T3 fixed the ship and found all the HK parts. Okay, that was like, I don't know how long the events of KOTOR 2 took place.
Oh.
But maybe a year, maybe 3 years. But still, for 2 to 3 years,
yeah.
T3
he's
has just been alone.
Ship, then he's got to fly back. See, that's why he's the hero of this book.
And he's finding all the HK parts because apparently HK went off to go find where Revan went and then ended up in pieces. So
he's like, oh, they left without me.
What was really funny was Mitra said that they left HK with the Jedi, and then Bastila said, oh, he's just gonna go leave and find Revan. And Mitra's like, oh, you're right. Yeah. So when they said that, I thought, oh, HK is going to show up at the end fight of this book. Because he's going to be like, I found you, Revan. Exclamation. Excited. But no. HK never shows up. And that is a bummer. I'm super bummed about that. Anyway, Basila's super jealous.
But she's got a kid, so she's like, whatever, you go find my husband, I'll stay here with
because Mitra and Revan are BFFs.
Mm-hmm. She's like, if anyone will find him, it'll be you.
They spend way too long on her being
Mitra goes back to the planet, T3 takes her there, they learn, apparently, T3 can just, like, there's no power on this planet, there hasn't been power on this planet for thousands of years.
Wait, we're not done yet with the Bastila Mitra theme, because Bastila gives Mitra a holotape of her and her son, and also the Revan mask to give to Revan.
That she's been holding on to this whole time. Secret.
Because Bastila was afraid that if Revan gets the Revan mask, Revan's gonna turn evil again.
From a mask, that's okay.
Anyway, Mitra's on Athema. What's she gonna
She's
do?
like, I can't, there's no force. But she cut herself off from the force, so she should know what this feels like.
But she got the force back.
I know, but she ran to the ship and almost left T3, who basically hacks into the system and gets all the information. That's
they learned of Droman Koss, the long-lost homeworld of the Sith species, so they thought,
still alive.
That's the best bet to find Revan, so we'll go there next.
Yeah.
So now we're back to Scourge. We ping pong back to Scourge, who is going to visit Revan. Over the past 3 years, Revan told... 4? Yeah, you're right. Revan told him everything. That 1 year, he was really quiet.
He doesn't tell him...
He told him as much as he can.
Everything. He keeps some things back, but...
It says that Scourge has an obsession with Revan.
Obsession. Like, he sees him all the time.
Oh my god, love Revan!
And they've drugged him, and I'm like, that's gotta be some serious drugs if you have been drugged for 4 years.
Yeah. But Revan was also manipulating Scourge.
Everyone manipulates everyone.
But not really well, to be honest.
No, they're like, I'll feed
They
you some
try.
information, and I'll feed you
They're
some
like,
information.
Revan's doing some cool mind tricks, but it never works out.
Max is drugged.
Because he's not cool.
They're probing each other for information.
And Revan sees that Mitra is gonna rescue them.
But he like lies to Scourge and was like,
premonition.
"Oh, he's like, you could let me out," and he's like, "I can't do that." He's like, "It doesn't matter because someone's coming to get me." And then after he says that and leaves, and then Revan's like, "Oh, Mitra is coming to get me." That's weird.
Nice. Called it.
Mhm.
Mitra knows that Revan is on Droman Kos because she senses it. They pass themselves off as a mercenary. Mitra got an appointment to meet Setchel for information.
She's got some jewels, which I don't know where she's getting.
I
These
don't
jewels.
know where she got those jewels.
But she like bribed someone, but not very well, because she's like, "Well, when I come back, I'll pay you." And then she's like, "Where can I exchange my currency?" Yeah, and then so they sends her to someone who knows how to find people, and that, of course, is Setchel.
And Setchel says that he will help for a price.
Everyone's bargaining on this planet. Bargain.
And Setchel will set up a meeting with Scourge.
She doesn't know what his name is. She's got the picture.
She's got a picture of him.
T3, and he's like, "Oh, I know him."
Yeah, so Setchel goes to Scourge to tell him that Mitra is looking for him, and Scourge is like, agrees. He was sketched out, obviously, but
because
he's
like, killed a lot of people, so it could be a relative
Could
of
be anybody.
any of the people that he's murdered. But he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll bring." And then Setchel says, "Bring the head of security with you."
Yeah,
and he's
Murtagh.
like,
So Mitra gets attacked by Murtagh and kills Murtagh.
in like seconds. This guy is supposed to be so good, but she kills him in like seconds. And Scourge is just watching her.
We gotta have a list of like who's the coolest, you know?
Yeah.
We gotta make sure that Mitra looks cool.
Well, she was also a mercenary without the Force for a long time, so she's got other moves. Yeah, it's Scourge. She's like, "Well, I could just kill you," and Scourge says, "Save your anger for the Emperor. He's the real enemy."
I like Scourge was like, "Oh man, Revan said you'd come. Wow,
Yeah.
he was right."
Oh, there's supposed to be something
No
about this
way.
Force thing, because he's trying to learn the secrets of the Force. And
Scourge was like, "I'll take you to Revan," and Mitra's like, "Nah, I'm not getting ambushed again.
yeah.
That's not gonna happen." Scourge is like, "Fair enough. I will meet here tomorrow, and I will prove, one, the Emperor's crazy, and two, I know where Revan is."
And then he goes to visit our friend Setchel.
Scourge goes to Setchel to get the proof he needs to show Mitra, and Setchel gives him what he needs. That Nyrus is planning something evil against the Emperor, and then Scourge just kills him.
Finally!
Just straight up kills him. Gives the data disc to Mitra. Mitra believes him, and then Scourge plans on getting the Emperor to help them bust Revan out.
Yeah, to me, this was so dumb. Like, Scourge is mad that Nyrus is not moving on the Emperor fast enough. So he's like, in order to get Revan, I'm going to have to go to the Emperor, who is the person we're trying to destroy. So I'm like, that sounds like an awful plan.
Yeah, it does. It was a terrible plan. Scourge meets with the Emperor. Scourge gives the Emperor that data disc.
My notes on this chapter were like, he goes to speak with the Emperor and has a very "I want to speak to your manager" moment.
Yeah,
because they're like, no one sees the Emperor except for the Dark Council, and he's like, "Well, I have information, and you're gonna want to know. You're gonna get in trouble."
Yeah.
So of course he goes to see the Emperor, and he's in this like large weird room where his chair rotates and all that stuff.
Yeah, and the Emperor speaks like has two voices and stuff. The audiobook was cool. It had like echoed.
I didn't have two voices.
He had two voices. They say something about it in the thing where it's like it sounds like there's multiple voices talking at the same time, and like the room echo. It was cool. Audiobook's cool. So he gives the data discs, and the Emperor is like, "I'm gonna check these out, and if you're wrong, I'm gonna kill you. But if you're right,
I'll give your picture to the troops, and they won't kill you in this attack." He's like, "She's gonna need to know in less than 3 days, because that's when she's gonna know that all of her friends are dead. Yeah. So could you speed this up,
please?" Mitra has to pretend to be like a sexy slave in order to see Revan and get into Nyrus's fortress.
She has a shock collar on, which gave me very Wheel of Time vibes if you've read this book series.
The Emperor must have thought the information was good because the personal army comes and attacks the fortress right as Scourge and sexy Mitra get inside.
Where is she gonna hide her lightsaber?
You know. In the chaos, Mitra and Scourge rescue Revan. They were told that there was a whole scene where Revan was told to be killed.
Yeah, if
Kill
something
the
happens,
prisoner.
like kill the prisoner, and then these two human guards are like, I don't want to open the door, you open the door.
Do it, man.
And
Shoot
he's
him.
like, if you don't kill me, I will spare your lives.
Yeah.
If you try to kill me, you are both dead. And so they're like, okay. And then they like sit down, but then they die.
Then they die anyway.
Because
the personal guard comes in.
No, Nyrus.
Oh, like, Nyrus comes in.
Comes in and like explodes the room and then like attacks people. I like how Scourge doesn't care about Nyrus's fate. They see her dead slave, and Mitro's like, oh, where's Nyrus? And Scourge doesn't care. He's like, she'll get hers. I'm like, you should definitely care when the Dark Lord like is missing and she knows that you tattled on her.
Mitra gives Revan the mask back.
Because he's like weak from all the drugs and he falls on the ground.
Revan had like the dumbest moment where they put on the mask and they're like, wow, all the memories are coming back, and then they passed out from memory.
Memory
overdose.
So Nyrus is gonna shoot lightning out of her hands at all these people. Then Revan walks out and he's like, I am Revan Reborn.
Yeah, cringe.
And before me, you are nothing.
Yes.
And then he kills her.
And then he
like,
kills
super
her
fast.
Nyrus almost like killed Scourge and Mitra, and then Revan just wakes up from his little nappy, and then it's like, I'm Revan Reborn. Ew. And then kills.
And then like in a second, she's done.
Reflects back her force lightning.
So then they're recovering back at the cave, and they're like, well, this is not good because not only did the Emperor kill Nyrus, but he killed everyone on the council. Because the Scourge goes into town and like gets the info.
And in the meantime, Revan and Mitra are just watching the hollow message from Bastila and her son. And Mitra feels really weird about this.
Well, at first, the reason why she shows him the hollow thing is because he's evil Revan, and she like has to snap him out of it. So he won't take the mask off, and then when he sees his kid, and his wife says, I love you, then he takes the mask off, and he's like, let's watch it again, and again, and again. Because they're like, we don't know how long he's been sitting there watching this thing. When Scourge comes in, and he's like, oh, it's my kid. And he's like, I didn't know you had a family.
Yeah, and then tells him that the whole Dark Council has been killed.
And so they think that he's going to do to Drummond Cause what he did to the other place, where he's just going to suck all the life out. So they're like, we got to go kill him. So they go to the Emperor.
Yeah, but before that, Scourge has this weird dream where he lost to the Emperor, and he has to go talk to Revan about it because he feels weird.
Everyone's dead on the ground.
And he's like, oh, you have a Force dream? Yeah. I mean, that could happen, but also there's a lot of other outcomes. That's what Force dreams are all about, buddy.
They're your tarot cards, so this may be happening.
Yeah.
Please read it.
It really freaked Scourge out, though. So yeah, anyway, the three set out to go kill the Emperor.
Well, I mean, if you saw yourself die, and it's your Force dreams are a little clearer than dreams.
I die in my dreams all the time. They managed to get inside by asking for an audience with the Emperor, but once the captain of the guard sees Revan, it was an all-out attack because Revan saw the Emperor before when Revan was with Malik.
And then you find out that the Emperor was using Malik and Revan to attack the Republic. And he's like,
the captain of the guard knows who Revan is.
Because Revan now has all his memories back. He knows what's up.
Yeah. So that they're all out attack now. Revan went to the Emperor and Mitra, T3, and Scourge had to fight the guards. Revan gets beat up by the Emperor, and T3 gets exploded.
He went to go save his master. He took one for the team, and he's like now in little pieces. And Scourge really likes the head stomp because this is now the second time that they describe it, or the third time.
I don't know. I didn't write it down.
I don't know, but it was very gross.
Eventually Mitra and Scourge bust through. Mitra went to go save Revan, and Scourge was having a moment, seeing all the outcomes of this battle, and he sees the Emperor being killed by a Jedi that's not Mitra or Revan. So he's like, I know what I must do. And he kills Mitra.
What a douche.
He stabs Mitra in the back. And that gave the Emperor enough time to force lightning Revan until Revan passes out.
So Revan was already force lightning, and then, like, when he was fighting him on his own, and his, like, face melted into his mask. Gross. But he used the force to help heal himself, and this is when Mitra comes, and she could have killed the Emperor, but in order to do that, he would have killed Revan. So she, like, chest moved and decided to save
Revan more than...
And that's what Scourge is like, I don't understand that. But then when he sees all the different outcomes of him dying, him not dying...
He just didn't want to die, Scourge.
Yeah. The Emperor... He betrays and kills Mitra, I said, for some bullshit reason. And the Emperor gives him eternal life.
Yeah, Scourge is like, oh, I did it. It was all a ruse. Haha, I did it. And the Emperor's like, if it is a ruse, go kill Revan. And he's like, okay, I'll go do it. And the Emperor's like, wait, no, you've passed my bluff. Keep Revan alive. He's super cool. I love Revan. Basically, it's how I felt about it.
Mm-hmm. He's got other...
Forget the Exile. Talk about Revan, maybe. For him. Then Revan was placed in a tank. Scourge became the Emperor's personal enforcer, and Scourge now has eternal life.
We talk about how sad it is that Mitra
is now like a Force ghost.
She didn't become one with the Force. She stayed behind so she can, like, help out her bud.
Yeah.
That's so sad, because he can't hear her.
No.
They're just like, they just look at each other.
Yeah, she's just
trying to... like, feeds off of her.
Mitra's trying to keep Revan alive. Kind of. By force. Feeding. Ew.
And then we get the epilogue.
Oh, yeah, the Emperor's trying to, like, brain probe Revan with information, and Revan's trying to brain probe the Emperor, and whatever. They're trying to manipulate each other.
He wants to know how weak the Republic is.
Like, I'm just trying to prolong the eventual war that's going to happen by tricking the Emperor into thinking that the Republic's way cooler than they actually are. And then it's the epilogue.
Where it's the party or whatever of Bastilla's
Yeah, I think grandson, daughter. Bastilla is now old. It's decades later, and her son, Vanir? Yeah.
Yes, which is also an anagram.
Is now older and has a wife and child. Vanner never joined the Jedi Order. He became a politician.
Good, because they sound like they suck.
Instead, Bastilla thinks Revan succeeded because there hasn't been a war yet.
But she will never know.
And the book ends with Bastilla falling asleep and dreaming of Revan.
Oh,
God. So there's a remake coming out of KOTOR, and if you listen to this and you haven't played it, I don't know why you didn't listen to my warnings, but you should. It's going to be on PS5 and PC. Don't let this book deter you from playing the first game. That's what I gotta say about that.
And with that,
let's end this.
Next month, we are gonna read another repeat author.
Oh, yeah.
This time it's S.D. Perry. This is the Bioshock dude, right?
That's a lady.
Oh. What did we read with S.D. Perry? I feel like
I don't know who we read with S.D. Perry. But anyway, this is The Umbrella Conspiracy, Resident Evil #1. And
Resident Evil.
This should be the novelization of the first game, I think.
The terrifying novelization of the best-selling video game.
That's exciting. The first game is really good. Hopefully this book is better than the one we did.
So join us next month, when we dive into the world of Resident Evil.
Goodbye.
Bye.